Let me start with a story. There's a guy I know, smart, ambitious, had goals, gym routine, big plans. Then he met her, not toxic in the obvious way. No screaming, no cheating, no drama at first. But 6 months later, he stopped studying, stopped working out, started feeling tired all the time, and weirdly, guilty. Guilty for wanting more. Here's the scary part. She didn't destroy his life loudly. She did it quietly. And today, I want to talk about the most problematic type of woman every man needs to recognize early. Not to hate, not to blame, but to protect your future. And no, this isn't about all women. It's about one dangerous pattern. And if you miss it, it will cost you years. Stay with me. The signs are subtle. This isn't the obvious toxic person. This isn't insults, or control, or jealousy every 5 seconds. This is worse, because it feels comfortable. This type of woman supports you, but only up to a point, likes your ambition, until it competes with her comfort, loves your drive, as long as it doesn't change the relationship dynamic. She doesn't say, don't improve. She says, you're fine the way you are. Sounds sweet, right? But here's the problem. Growth feels uncomfortable, and she resents anything that threatens stability. Not your happiness, your momentum. And that resentment shows up slowly. The next sign looks like love, but it's actually a leash. Pay attention to this. Every time you try to focus, she gets sad, she gets distant. She suddenly needs you, not once, not occasionally, consistently. Example, you sit down to study for exams. She texts, why are you ignoring me? You skip the gym. She's happy. You stay home instead of working late. She's calm again. Your discipline creates tension. Your laziness restores peace. So subconsciously, you choose peace. This is emotional conditioning. And most guys don't even notice it happening. They just feel tired, unmotivated, foggy, and they blame themselves. But the environment matters. It gets worse when she starts supporting you. She'll say things like, I support your dreams. But watch her actions. She interrupts your focus, mocks your effort playfully, calls your goals too serious. Example, you want to start a side hustle. She laughs, you and your phases. You want to wake up early. She says, sleep in. One day won't matter. One day becomes a habit, and habits become identity. This type of woman doesn't attack your goals directly. She dilutes them, and dilution is dangerous because it feels harmless. No fight, no argument, just erosion, like water on stone. The next sign is the one that traps good men the longest. This is the big one. Every time you prioritize growth, she frames it as betrayal. You're changing. You care more about work than me. You weren't like this before. And slowly, you start associating ambition with guilt. That's lethal, because ambition requires self-focus. And if self-focus feels selfish, you'll abandon it, especially if you're a good guy, especially if you hate hurting people. She doesn't say, don't succeed. She says, why isn't what we have enough? And now you're trapped between becoming more or being a good boyfriend. Most men choose the second and regret it silently. But why does this happen in the first place? This part matters, because this isn't always evil. Often, this type of woman is insecure, afraid of being left behind, terrified of change. Your growth reminds her of her stagnation. Your discipline highlights her comfort zone, so instead of growing with you, she tries to slow you down. Not consciously, emotionally. And here's the hard truth. Love doesn't automatically mean alignment. Someone can care about you and still be bad for your future. So what do you do if you recognize this pattern? Step 1. Test her reaction to consistent discipline. Not talk, action. Train daily, study daily, work daily. No over-explaining. Watch her response. Support looks like encouragement. Sabotage looks like emotional resistance. Step 2. Stop negotiating your routine. Don't ask permission to grow. Say, "I'll call you after I finish." Not, "Is it okay if I study?" Your life is not a group project. Step 3. Watch how she handles your wins. When you improve, does she celebrate or minimize? Real support amplifies progress. Fake support tolerates it. Briefly. Step 4. Be willing to walk away. This is the hardest part, but listen closely. If a relationship requires you to shrink, it's not love, it's attachment, and attachment kills potential. The most problematic type of woman isn't loud, isn't aggressive, isn't obvious. She's comfortable, she's subtle, and she slowly disconnects you from your future self, not because she hates you, but because your growth threatens her comfort. So here's your challenge. Tonight, protect 1 hour of focused work. Don't explain it, don't apologize, see how it feels. And remember this, the right person won't slow your growth, they'll walk beside it. Let's build discipline, let's build clarity, let's build this together. There is a specific kind of person who can dismantle your entire life without ever raising their voice. They won't threaten you, they won't look violent, they won't appear cruel. In fact, they'll do something far more dangerous. They'll make you feel chosen. They'll drain your energy while convincing you it's love. They'll empty your bank account while making you feel selfish for hesitating. They'll erode your confidence while framing it as helping you grow. And by the time you realize what's happening, you'll already be apologizing for the damage they caused. Today, we're talking about the most dangerous partner a man can encounter, the psychological manipulator. And if your instinct right now is, "That wouldn't happen to me," understand this. Manipulators do not target weak men. They target men with strength, resources, empathy, and potential. Because there's more to extract. Manipulative partners don't want control over nothing. They want access. Access to your time, access to your stability, access to your money, access to your social standing, access to your emotional labor. They are drawn to men who are capable, driven, and resilient because those men can endure abuse longer without realizing it's abuse. Strength becomes the trap. In the early stage, everything feels almost unreal. They listen intensely. They remember tiny details about you. They admire your ambition. They praise your intelligence. They reflect your worldview back to you like a mirror. It feels rare. It feels deep. It feels fated. You don't feel pursued. You feel understood. What you don't realize yet is that they are collecting data. Your fears, your insecurities, your values, your unmet emotional needs, not to protect you, but to use later. They suddenly love what you love, agree with what you believe, support every dream you mention. You interpret this as compatibility. In reality, it's mirroring. They are not showing you who they are. They are showing you who you are, reflected back perfectly. And that illusion creates attachment fast, too fast. At some point, something changes. Nothing dramatic, nothing obvious, just subtle tension. Affection becomes inconsistent. Praise becomes conditional. Silence replaces warmth. One day, they're deeply loving. The next, emotionally unavailable. You don't confront them. You adjust yourself. You start monitoring your tone, your words, your reactions, trying to bring back the version of them that made you feel safe. This is not romance. This is behavioral conditioning. Your nervous system becomes trapped in uncertainty. You never know. Will today be affection? Or withdrawal? Connection? Or punishment? So you stay alert, hyper-aware, emotionally vigilant. The rare moments of kindness feel euphoric because they are scarce. That scarcity bonds you deeper. This is the same mechanism that makes gambling addictive. You're not chasing love anymore. You're chasing relief. They don't demand isolation. They engineer it. Every time you see friends, there's tension. Every family visit ends in drama. Every social plan is followed by emotional consequences. Eventually, you stop making plans. Not because you were told to, but because peace feels easier than conflict. Your world quietly shrinks until they are at the center of it. And that's exactly where they want you. They frame control as care. I just worry about you. I feel anxious when you're not here. I only act like this because I love you so much. You mistake possessiveness for devotion, surveillance for intimacy, jealousy for passion. And slowly, your independence begins to feel like betrayal. Many manipulative partners exhibit traits associated with the dark triad: narcissism, a constant need for validation; Machiavellianism, strategic manipulation; psychopathy, emotional detachment without guilt. They don't experience empathy the way you do. They understand emotions, but they don't feel them. That's why they can comfort you one moment and emotionally dismantle you the next. You see contradiction. They see efficiency. Prepare men to recognize manipulation from women. We associate danger with aggression. We associate abuse with violence. So when control arrives wrapped in vulnerability, beauty, or tears, it bypasses our defenses. Men rationalize it. She's just emotional. She's been hurt before. She cares too much. By the time clarity arrives, the damage is already done. Over time, something inside you fractures. You begin to doubt your memory, your instincts, your emotional reactions. You apologize automatically, even when you've done nothing wrong. Men who once led rooms begin questioning themselves in silence. Confidence doesn't disappear overnight. It's dismantled systematically. Criticism becomes constant. Nothing you do is quite right. You're always slightly failing. Eventually, you stop expressing yourself altogether. Because being invisible feels safer than being wrong. Emotional manipulation is only part of it. Money becomes leverage. There's always a story, a hardship, a future plan. You become the solution to every problem. You pay, you cover, you sacrifice. And when you finally need support, you're treated like a liability. Your generosity was never love to them. It was opportunity. This is where most men lose years of their life. They believe if they love harder, communicate better, heal enough, the manipulation will stop. It won't. Because manipulation is not a flaw for them. It's a strategy. It's how they secure control. Trying to fix them only teaches them how much you'll tolerate. Some manipulators learn therapeutic language. They accuse you of gaslighting when you question their behavior. They call boundaries emotional abandonment. They frame your resistance as abuse. Psychology becomes a weapon used to invalidate your reality. Healthy relationships stabilize. Manipulative ones escalate. Drama increases. Conflicts multiply. Peace becomes rare. Because peace gives you clarity. And clarity threatens control. So chaos is introduced deliberately. They hurt you, then soothe you. They destabilize you, then offer comfort. Your brain links relief to the same person causing the pain. This is trauma bonding, and it's powerful enough to keep men trapped for decades. Eventually, the transformation is complete. The warmth disappears. The contempt surfaces. The person who claimed unconditional love now treats you as disposable. And the shift is so extreme, you assume something must be wrong with you. It wasn't. The loving version was the performance. When control slips, retaliation begins. They rewrite the narrative. You become the abuser. They become the victim. They tell the story first. And by the time you speak, you sound defensive or unstable. This is not accidental. It's strategic. In the most severe cases, children become tools, threats, manipulation, alienation. Men stay in abusive relationships for years to protect their kids. Manipulators know this, and they exploit it. Leaving doesn't end the damage. Recovery takes years, not from heartbreak, from psychological warfare. Men must relearn. Trusting their instincts, trusting their memory, trusting their perceptions. The damage is invisible but profound. Trust discomfort. It exists for a reason. Maintain outside relationships at all costs. Isolation is never love. Watch how they treat those who offer them nothing. That's who they really are. Set boundaries once. enforce them immediately. And if manipulation appears, leave early, because the longer you stay, the harder escape becomes. Some of the most dangerous relationships don't look abusive. They look intense. They look passionate. They look meaningful, until you're empty. If this felt uncomfortably familiar, that's not coincidence. That's recognition. And recognition is where freedom begins.